Hello friends, my name is McKenna and welcome to Knit Between the Lines, a knitting podcast. This is a podcast where I talk about what I'm knitting, what I'm spinning on, and my love for fiber arts. So grab whatever project you're working on and let's get into it. Okay, so I guess first things first, let's chat about the sweater that I'm wearing. This is the Ingrid sweater by Petite Knit. I just finished this sweater a few months ago when I moved here to Portland and I love it. It definitely is a bit more oversized than I had initially intended it to be, but I honestly don't mind it. The yarn that I had chosen for it makes it very comfy and super warm and cozy, so it kind of fits the like winter cozy vibes. For the yarn, I use Drops Puna, which is a natural alpaca. They have different shades in this yarn, but it's very much just like in the natural occurring color of different alpacas. And then the mohair that I held with it is just Drops Soft Silk Mohair. What? I know. I love you. She's so good. Yeah, so super amazing sweater. I think if I ever make another one, I might opt for no mohair just so I have a little bit more stitch definition. And I went for the full like 10 inches of positive ease, and I think my gauge might have been off, which is contributing to how oversized the sweater is. So I might try to use less ease next time, but I still love it and I can't wait to wear it this winter and fall. Let's get into whips. This whip is the one that we've been talking about since the beginning, and it's still a whip, but like it's so close to being done. And that is the Pressed Flowers cardigan by, sorry, there was a motorcycle. It is the Pressed Flowers cardigan by Amy Christoffers. And here she is in all of her glory. Look at it! It looks so good. It looks like a whole cardigan. Are you kidding? Oh my God. I'm so excited. So as you can see, I'm like actually like this close to being done with it. I am on the button band and I actually opted to do a tubular bind off for the button band as well as the cuffs on the sleeves. I do really love a tubular bind off because it's just so clean, especially now that I've done it a few times and I feel like I've kind of like perfected the tension for the sewing off of the actual bind off, because the first time I did it, it was kind of a disaster. I also don't love tubular bind off for 2x2 rib because I feel like the rearranging of the stitches is very obvious because it kind of juts out and it's not my fave. So because the ribbing on this is 1x1, I've wanted to use that opportunity to use tubular bind off and see how gorgeous it looks. Let me show you the cuffs real quick. Here's the cuff. And here's that really beautiful tubular bind off. Like that just looks so good. The fact that it just rolls off the edge of the knitting, like that looks like you purchased it from a store. Like I love it, and I think it just looks so nice and clean. I do think a regular bind off is fine. I just think the tubular bind off is nicer. Like the bottom of my cardigan is just a regular, I guess it's a cast on. This is a cast on edge because you start from the bottom when you knit this cardigan. And it looks good, like don't get me wrong, I just think I prefer the look of the tubular because it just like the knitting kind of rolls off the edge and it looks just really, really nice, and I love that little detail. So I decided to also do the tubular bind off for the button band. And I already did the setup rounds. I literally just have to go through and sew it off, which is, we all know, the most tedious part of tubular bind off. But I think it looks so good. I just really wasn't sure how I felt about the regular bind off edge for the button band. Again, probably would have been fine, but I really was sitting there and I was like, you know, I think I would prefer the look of the tubular bind off for the button band. It was really interesting though because I realized the only time I've ever done a tubular bind off has been in the round. And with tubular bind off, you have those two setup rounds where you knit the knits and you slip the purls with the yarn in front. And the second round, you slip the knits with yarn in back and then you purl the purls. But when you knit flat, your knits on the front side become your purls on the wrong side and you already worked that stitch. So I had to like take a second before I went on autopilot mode and remember like, oh hey, your knits that you just knit that are gonna look like pearls on the wrong side have already been worked. So I had to remember that I actually just had to knit and then slip the pearls with the yarn in front on both sides, which honestly made it a lot easier. But I just had to like rewire my brain for a second to remember that because I've not had to do this flat before. But I think it's gonna look super, super good. And I was hoping to get this finished before the podcast because I really wanted to wear it as a finished object. Because I feel like this has been the like anticipated work in progress for the last couple episodes because it's been like my main project, my main thing that I've wanted to get done and wear ASAP. So I haven't been working on a lot of my other projects. So I was really hoping to finish it before I talked to you guys this week, but I just couldn't swing it. I was gonna try to do the sewn part of the tubular bind off before I talked to you guys, and I just knew that was gonna take too long and then it was gonna be dark because we are in the fall times here in Portland. It is the beginning of October, which means the sun is setting earlier, which means it gets darker sooner. So I didn't want to do the sewn bind off and then lose the light for the podcast. But I mean, you guys are pretty much getting the vibe. Like it looks so good. Oh my God, it looks so good. Even from like afar, are you kidding me? I can't wait to wear this. I'm gonna grab for this all the freaking time. Oh. 10 out of 10 would recommend. This project has also taken me so long. I casted this on beginning of August on my way to Flock Fiber Festival in Seattle. It is the beginning of October. So it took me all of August and all of September and even a little bit into October. So cardigans are no joke, let alone an all over mosaic knitting one. I definitely do recommend this pattern. It's absolutely gorgeous. Some of it is a little confusing in the way it is worded, but I kind of figured it out eventually. But the end product is just so gorgeous that I would definitely knit it again, and I would recommend it to anybody who wants to knit it. Man, cardigans are no joke. They take forever. And I'm also knitting on sport weight yarn, so like that doesn't help either. But super excited this is almost done. This means I will definitely be wearing this as a finished object in the next podcast, for sure. I can promise you that. So I can't wait. I also can't wait to bind off and finish this cardigan because I really want to cast on the Reese sweater for my husband, and I want to cast on the Lauder vest by Rebecca Clow ASAP because it's already October and I want to wear that vest like now. And I want to start on the sweater for my husband because I'm hoping to get it done by like Thanksgiving, Christmas so he can wear it. This is the first time I'm going to be knitting a garment for him, and it's the first time I'm knitting like a sweater for a man, which usually is on a larger circumference of a sweater-ish. We actually honestly probably have about the same chest circumference for the most part, or at least when it comes to like my preferred amount of positive ease versus his amount of positive ease. So I want to get those casted on ASAP so I don't feel like I'm rushed to get those done, and I can enjoy the process of knitting in them, but we'll still have time to wear them. My next work in progress is, of course, the Sideline wrap by Brienne Moody. This is a twisted double wrapped hair wrap that I've been working on for a couple weeks now. This has kind of just been my chill project that I kind of grab on when I'm sick and tired of my pressed flowers cardigan, or I'm getting in the car for like 20-ish minutes to go grocery shopping with my husband, or going to knit nights or anything. So it's kind of been a slower moving project, but I do still have quite a bit of length on it. I think the last time I showed you guys, I was here, like this hot pinkish area. I am now all the way here. So we finally got back to that really beautiful purple color. I think I mentioned to you guys last week about how there was kind of a point in the project where there was definitely like a joining of the fiber, which caused like the colors to kind of change. But I think it's gonna work out for the better because I think if my imagination is correct, this will be the color that's kind of closest to my face, which is going to be perfect. It's probably the color that I love the most out of the whole skein. But I am like loving this pattern. I definitely hit a point now where I don't have to think about it anymore. I kind of just know what's going on. And I just love seeing the color shift in it and everything with the bright yellow, green. I've also been getting a ton of compliments on this project. Everyone loves the colors. And I'm so glad that the longer I knit on this, the more I just fall in love with the colors. I know I have mentioned to you guys that this is very much out of my comfort zone when it comes to the colors that I choose to knit with, because I'm usually a neutrals girly or green, love green, or like a purple, because those are the colors that I know look good on me, and or at least I like and I feel like look good on me. So this is definitely out of my wheelhouse, being bright and neon and mostly hot pink. But the more I knit on it, the more I love it. And I really think my Pressed Flowers cardigan has inspired me to play more with color and push myself out of my comfort zone when it comes to color, because it's so much fun and it brings me so much joy to knit with a bunch of different colors. And I also don't want a knit wardrobe of all purple and all green and all gray, because that's not fun. So I think this was a great way to kind of push me out of my comfort zone, and it definitely makes me want to knit with more colors than what I usually do. So can't wait to keep knitting on this and can't wait to finish it. I love it so much. And I definitely still have a lot more to go. I believe the pattern says that you're supposed to knit about 42 inches. I want to say this is about like 24, maybe ish. I haven't actually measured it. I probably should do that to see how much more knitting I got. I think I was just under the impression that I wasn't even close to the 42 inches, so I didn't even bother. But I probably should measure it eventually and see how far I am and how far I've got to go. But this is a really good, simple project to take with you, like to sports events or like spectator events or knit nights or just like car knitting with when someone else is driving. And you won't get it done super fast, so it'll like be there for a while for you to knit on, which I think is great. So yeah, super loving that. Can't wait for this to get finished and to wear with a super fun like neutral shirt as a pop of color. And I do plan on making another one that has more of a neutral vibe, but we'll see. My next work in progress, finally, is another yarn cozy. I finally casted on my 50 gram, if I can find it in my project bag. Hold on. Where are you? There you are. I finally casted on the 50 gram yarn cozy. I don't remember what happened. Oh, I know exactly what happened. I couldn't reach my other projects because my cat was sleeping on me, and it's absolutely illegal to move when your cat lays on you. And I couldn't work on my Pressed Flowers cardigan because I needed to skein up another thing of Spincycle. So this was the closest next to me, and I wanted to knit while we were watching a movie, so here we are. I love how that it took all of that just for me to finally cast on this 50 gram mini. But I just did the base. Ooh, there we go. I just did the bottom. Now I just have to do the plain and simple body, which is the 3x1 rib. And I think it's for like 3-ish inches, and then you do the I-cord bind off. Yeah, sorry, the I-cord bind off. And then I'll do probably another 50 gram, and I really do think I'll have enough for at least a 10 gram mini. Like, where is it? I still have all of this left. Like, I don't know how I ended up with so much yarn after knitting a whole pair of socks, but honestly, I might still have some left after making all these cozies. If that's the case, I do plan to make a scrappy, like, oh, what's it? Is it Cozy Memories blanket? It's like a mitered square blanket or a jelly roll blanket. One of those. I do plan to make a scrappy blanket with a lot of my fingering weight yarn scraps. I'll stick it in there somewhere, I think, because I really do love the color of this yarn with all the variegation in it, and it's so pretty knitted up that I'm not gonna throw this away. Are you kidding me? I'm gonna use it up as much as I possibly can. But I do plan to make one of those eventually. Not right now. I have too many other things that I have planned for fall that I want to get done ASAP. So it's not really my priority right now. But yes, finally casted on my cozy, super excited about it. These are just really easy, mindless knits. This is like essentially a sock to me as well when it comes to like not needing to pay attention to what I'm doing knitting. So this and the Sideline wrap will probably be pretty interchangeable for me when it comes to like TV knitting, car knitting, knit nights, things like that. So super excited that I finally got this on the needles because I want this done, and like mostly because I want to check it off my list, you know what I mean? But I also want to like actually use the cozies. So super pumped about it. It's gonna look so cute. Can't wait to have a nice little set when we're done. My only other active whip at the moment is my Cozy Comfort Throw by Molly from a Homespun house. I have not touched it, you guys. And when I tell you that this Pressed Flowers cardigan has consumed my every waking knitting moment, it really has. Because I've hit the point where I just like, I'm tired of knitting on it. I've been knitting on it for 2 months and I want it to be over. Not that I didn't enjoy it. I really enjoyed knitting on it. I just am ready to do something else and I want to wear it. So I've been focusing pretty much all of my knitting energy into that cardigan. So I've not touched a lot of my other whips except for my Sideline wrap because that's what I take to knit nights. And it's really portable for when we're driving places. And the Yarn Cozy Lite that I cast it on because I didn't have anything else to knit on it in like reach of where I was. So super sorry I don't have anything to show for that. I think the Cozy Comfort Throw is probably going to be just like a, when I randomly think about it and I don't want to work on anything else, kind of just going to be there in the background for a while, which is totally fine. But I don't have anything to show for that. I do have a really fun project. Well, it's not really a project yet. I've not casted it on yet, but I'm gonna cast it on like as soon as possible. And that is the Happy Haunted Socks by Valorie Wibbens. This is a colorwork sock pattern that is actually free on Ravelry as a download. She does mention as a disclaimer in the description that it's not really a full-fledged pattern. She's not gonna tell you how to knit a sock, but it does include the charts for these really cute like ghost motifs along the sock, as well as a checkered garter ridge for the heel flap and gusset, which I think is super fun. I've had these colorwork charts saved in my Ravelry library forever, and I have yet to cast them on, but I have the perfect sock set that has been sitting in my stash, I wanna say for like 2 years. That'll be perfect for this. And of course, I have everything wound up already because I wanna cast them on ASAP, and I had to put it in the Halloween themed project bag that I've been using all year, but now it's actually in season. So let me show you. So the yarn is from Moonglow Yarn Co. And it was a sock set called the Crazy Cauldron sock set. It is their 75-25 merino nylon base. And in total for the yarn, it's 100 grams. So I want to say that the main skein, it came with like one, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7 minis, and I think these are all 10 grams probably. Maybe they're 5. I don't really know. I could weigh them. I could weigh them or look them up on the website, but I'm not gonna do that. But I think total it's 100 grams. So that, if these are all 10 grams, that's 70 grams of just minis. So I would leave 30 grams for the sock set. I don't think that's right. I don't know, maybe 5? No, that can't be 5. That's not a lot. I don't know. I don't know how much they are. But I've had the sock set in my stash for a super long time, and essentially is giving, I want it to be like a rainbow ghost socks. That's what I want, okay? So I'm pulling all of the minis out of my my 10 gram mini cozies so you can actually see the colors of the yarn. And it's beautiful. It's like a neon rainbow, right? So here's the main color. It's just like a really pretty dark gray. Like, it's pretty dark. It is showing up a little bit darker on the camera than it actually is, but this is gonna be the main color. And then I have all of these super fun rainbow minis. Look at that, isn't that crazy? They're literally like neon. I am so excited. This is the order that I'm gonna do it for the socks too, so it literally looks like a rainbow. There is a 7th mini skein, but it's literally just like this little like light gray, and like that's not fun. Maybe I'll use it as like the checkerboard gusset if I really want to. I'm not sold on the checkerboard gusset, but it might be cool. So maybe we'll do it just for something fun. And like that has enough contrast where I think it'll look really cool. We shall see. But I've been wanting to do these socks for Halloween for a couple years, and I just like never casted them on in time. It was literally like all of a sudden it was like October 28th, and I was like, well, I'm not gonna get them done in time. So I'm gonna cast them on probably in the next couple days and hopefully get them done soon so I can wear them for October. I have a couple other autumnal color themed socks that I really want to cast on, but I have like November for that as well, and like these are very seasonal And like, I want to wear them for Halloween. I want them for Halloween. So these are gonna get casted on first. And then once I finish these, I'm gonna cast on the other ones that I will show you that sock set later when I get to cast it on, because it's really, really pretty. It's a self-striping that I'm actually obsessed with, and I've been like itching to use it and cast it on for a while. So yeah, these are the Happily Haunted socks, and it's a free download. Go look at it. Wouldn't recommend it if you've never knit socks before, because she does not tell you how to make socks. She doesn't write out the instructions for like a sock pattern. It's mostly just her recipe for the charts for the ghosts, as well as the checkerboard gusset, which is why it's free on Ravelry. So super excited. If you guys do decide to cast these on, you should post them and tag me in them so I can see your socks. I think it'll be super fun. But literally obsessed with these colors. If I can grab them again. Literally obsessed with these colors. They're gonna look so good. This like chartreusey green and this like blue and the purple are like giving me life. Like I low-key would just do a sock in just all of these colors, but I really want that kind of rainbow vibe. So these are gonna look so cute and they're gonna be so fun, and I can't wait to knit them. Again, as you can tell, I'm really on like a color vibe right now, because again, normally not colors I would choose to knit with, but like they're so fun and they're giving me so much joy that like, let's just keep the party going. Just keep the party going. So I will hopefully have these casted on the next podcast and actually have like some of the ghosts worked up so you can see them in the colors. So super excited. I'm probably gonna cast these on like, honestly, if I get the button band bound off for the Pressed Flowers cardigan, I'm probably going to cast these on as a treat to myself, because I'm ready to do something new. Oh, I also am gonna be experimenting with a new needle size for these. Normally I knit my socks on a US 1, which is a 2.25 millimeter needle. And I am a loose knitter, and my gauge is usually about 7.5 inches per inch, which is not terrible, but a lot of patterns actually suggest for a tighter gauge. I got a US 0 interchangeable needle from my local yarn store, and it's a US 0. It's 2 millimeters, to see if that kind of tightens up my gauge if I like knitting with them. If it's an awful experience and the gauge is too tight or it's super fiddly and awkward, I'll just go back to my US 1s. But I think this will fix my gauge, and it'll probably make my socks a lot tighter and hopefully will make them fit better. I don't have any knitting FOs, so let's jump into spinning. The only spinning thing I have to share today is still the Kent Romney that I got from Northwestern Yarns in Washington, and I plied it up and it looks beautiful. Super excited, absolutely love it. Is definitely, I haven't actually done the wraps per inch on it yet, but if I take a little like finger swatch here, there we go. There you go. It looks like it's probably gonna be like a DK, and probably, well, honestly, it's probably the thinnest and most consistent I've spun. So I wanna say that's gonna be about a DK. Maybe sport, I don't really know. I'm not good at guesstimating yarn weights by visuals like a lot of people are. I kind of just go by, I trust the label. Usually I just trust the label. But hopefully becoming a spinner, I will start to get pretty good about kind of guesstimating by visually what a yarn weight is. But it is looking like it's gonna be about a DK, maybe even a worsted in some areas, which is consistent with the BFL and the Rambouillet that I spun up. So I think it's gonna work great for them to be all knit together as a project. It just has to be skeined up and washed, and then she'll be rocking and rolling and ready to be knit with. Drafting wise, I did a short forward like I did with the Rambouillet and the BFL. And I think my next spin, I wanna try some different drafting methods. I might try to do a short, I think it's a short backward. Yeah, where they like start at the orifice and they kind of pull it back to get the spin. I might try that. I don't feel confident enough yet to try woolen spun. I don't know why. I don't feel like I'm ready for that yet, but we'll see. But now that this is finished, I am super excited to dip into my hand-dyed fiber. I haven't decided which one I want to start with yet. I'm thinking I want to do the Lake Cottage because I'm not planning to ply it with anything. I'm just going to ply it with itself as a fractal spin. Whereas the Spring Break and Lake Shore, I think is what it was called. Those are going to be a combo spin together. So it's going to be a little bit more of a like labor intensive spin. So I might just ease myself into it with just the Lake Cottage. I could also do the Dreaming by Firelight from Hello Yarn, which was the exclusive colorway for Christopher from Flannel and Pearl, and Taji from Tangles and Starlight, their Tour de Fleece team, Camp Wool again. But I also like that colorway is kind of precious to me because I really, really love it. So I kind of like don't want to mess it up. So maybe we won't use that for experimenting. But like the only way you're gonna learn is by doing it. And that's why I bought the fiber, is to practice and to learn and to have fun. So probably one of them I will start spinning up by the next podcast. So I've just been, again, dedicating all of my crafting time to this freaking cardigan, but it's almost done. So now we can get more things on the needles and on the wheel. Okay, so now let's get into sewing. I only have one thing to show you guys, but it is a finished object. It is my canvas tote bag that I talked to you guys about 2 weeks ago when I got my sewing machine and I was project planning. And let me tell you, I think it's actually like the cutest thing I've ever made, and I'm obsessed with it. Here it is, look at it. It's like a whole tote bag, you guys. I got a sew on patch for it. There's a pocket here. I do have some project bags in here so you guys can kind of see it filled up. Here's the orange straps that I did. Reinforce them with a little X to keep them from being nice and floppy. And here is the inside. Look at it, look at the lining. Isn't it so good? It's kind of hard to show because it's like a bag with things in it right now, but look at the lining. Isn't that gorgeous? I think it's so cute. Like this here looks just like a regular tote bag that you would probably buy from like Trader Joe's or something. I really think the lining like sets it apart. It looks so good. And it has pockets. She goes through in the video how to customize your pockets to different things or different sizes that fit what you want. And I made pockets big enough for my Kindle, my iPad mini, as well as a pocket for my phone that I actually shortened so my phone didn't slide all the way down to the bottom and it was easily reachable. And I have a video that I can show you. This is what it looked like before I actually sewed the lining into the actual bag. I figured it would be easier for you guys to see. But in total, there are 4 pockets on each side of the bag. And honestly, like, I'm gonna use the crap out of this bag. Like, I'm probably gonna use it more than I would a regular Trader Joe's tote bag because of the pockets and the lining. The lining is so stinking cute, guys. Like, every time I look at it, I can't believe that I actually sewed this myself. And like, I didn't go buy it. Like, I like don't understand how that's possible. And like, don't get me wrong, it's not perfect. Like, you can definitely tell that it was a learning experience. Like, for example, like when I was sewing the bottom of the tote bag, like back here is a little wrinkly and like gathered because I was having a hard time keeping the fabric from bunching, because you basically, and she shows you how to curve the corners of the bottom and then you pin everything together, but it's kind of hard to pin a flat, something flat to something rounded. And I think my fabric size was a little off because I'm brand new at this and my seam allowance wasn't great. So I think the seam allowance was a little bit larger for the shell than it was supposed to be. So it made it a lot smaller than the bottom. So it was kind of hard to like fit everything together, but we got there, it's fine. You can't tell unless you know I point it out. And my stitching is a little wonky on some of the straps. Like, it's not straight on one of them, but I immediately learned from that, and then my other ones were great. One of my reinforcements for the straps was super wonky because I like didn't understand that I could just turn the fabric so the foot was at a diagonal and go down. Instead, I tried to like just yank the fabric in a diagonal, which like obviously wasn't great. Again, we're learning. So like, here's like the super weird one that like doesn't look good. So you can see how like wonky that is compared to like this one, which like looks super clean and professional, right? So again, this bag is by far not perfect, and I definitely learned a lot from doing it, but it was so much fun and I had such a great experience. And I think in hindsight, I would have placed this patch maybe a little bit lower, because here's the top of the pocket and here's the bottom of the bag. So when it's like full of stuff and like sitting on the floor, it does look a little low. but like when you're holding it up and it kind of fills itself out, it's fine. But also the sewing on the patch is like not great either at all. I tried to use a decorative stitch and girl, I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready for the of the needle. So she's a little everywhere, but I used the thread that matches the white canvas so you can't super see it. But like, it's kind of a hot mess, but it's fine. Like, it's my first bag, it's fine. I'm actually obsessed with this though, and I have project bags in here. I have my notions pouch in here, which is literally just like sitting right there. This is my wallet, and it's in the pocket that I made for my phone. So it doesn't slide all the way down. It literally just goes like right here instead of going all the way down. I also have super big pockets on the other side that'll be great for skeins of yarn or cakes of yarn. There's also skinnier pockets on the sides that I could use for knitting needles. I actually measured them for my Chiagu red lace needles, so those will slide in just perfect. I think I also made those a little bit shorter too, so those don't slide all the way down either. It was super fun. I loved this tutorial by Syd Graham. She does a whole like 5-part sewing series on YouTube called Learn How to Sew. It goes you through a bunch of information about like notions that you should get, fabric, how to do a sewing pattern, all the things about your machine, and then the last video is this tutorial on how to make this super cute canvas tote bag that you can kind of customize for your own needs. And it was super great, super thought out. Like anytime I had a question, I knew exactly where to go. She answered all of them, and she really sets you up for success. So if you're looking for a beginner-friendly sewing project where you don't have to buy a pattern, or you're a seasoned sewist and you just want a really cute canvas tote bag, highly recommend this video. I do still have my fabric to make the strawberry themed one, similar to the one that she made. I just haven't gotten around to it because again, all of my crafting time has been for this cardigan. But that will be on my next, it's on my sewing list. So I think it's gonna be like the second thing I sew, but I still have the fabric for that. Super excited to sew that tote bag, and I love it. I like want to make a million of these. I don't think I'm ever gonna buy a tote bag ever again because I can just make my own. I was afraid this was gonna get very like I hunt vibes, like giving very hunter camo, fluorescent orange vibes. But I think because the green is more of a chartreusey green and the pattern is very like campy outdoorsy, not like hunty outdoorsy, it's the exact vibe I was going for. So super, super happy with this. I think I'm gonna use it all the time. It's gonna be great. And I can't wait to make my other one. So in other sewing news, I got all of my fabric from Blackbird Fabrics. It's all of the fabric that I showed you guys in the last podcast episode. The mini gingham rustic cotton for the lane pants, the go-to cotton in basil for the skyline dress, and the viscose Noel in wisteria for the Syd tie top. I also bought fabric for another pattern that I didn't share with you guys last time, and that is for the Jill wrap skirt by Jessilous Patterns. And I got the actual like cutest fabric ever. It is called the striped plaid hand woven cotton. It is in brick and white and it's 100% cotton. You can't tell me that this is gonna be like not the literal cutest fall skirt you've ever seen in your whole life. Like, are you kidding me right now? I also already washed it, so it smells really good. It smells like my detergent. But I am super excited to sew this pattern. This pattern is very beginner friendly. It's essentially just a really long rectangle with some ties. They do introduce darts to you, which I am a little intimidated by, but I've heard great things about the pattern and that it walks you through everything. The reviews said it was super easy to follow and super beginner friendly, and this fabric is just 100% cotton, and I think it'll be super easy to sew with for my first time. So I think this is gonna be my first garment that I ever sew. Or I wanna sew this first before I sew the denim tote bag, because I really wanna sew clothes. So, and I think this will be a really good introduction and a really easy pattern to start with, and I'm super excited about it. I haven't decided the length that I'm gonna do. In the pattern, she gives you the option for a mini length as well as a maxi length. I think the mini length is gonna be too short for me, and I think the maxi length is gonna be too long for me. I have a very long torso and short legs, and I feel like if I do the maxi, it might be kind of matronly on me, so I might try to modify it a little bit and go like in between for more of a midi length, like mid-calf, just below the knee. I think that'll be like the perfect length for me. So it'll be super, super fun. I'm hoping to actually start sewing this after the podcast. We'll see how adventurous we get. That's pretty much also my only acquisitions for this episode, is the fact that I got all of my fabric from Blackbird. I uploaded my AO files for the pattern pieces for each pattern, and they printed them for me as well. So I have all of those, which I'm gonna have to cut out for my size, but super excited. Can't wait to sew these. So that's all I have for you guys regarding crafty stuff for knitting, spinning, and sewing. I hope to have a couple of finished objects to share with you guys next week, like the Jill wrap skirt, the pressed flowers cardigan, and maybe the strawberry tote bag. Depends on how much time and energy I have with working a full-time job. So we'll see. That might be a little ambitious, but I definitely will have the pressed flowers cardigan for you guys, and hopefully the Jill wrap skirt as well. Maybe some other sewing stuff. We'll have to see. But in regards to what's going on in my life right now, I am reading a new book and watching a new show. So I have finished Caraval by Stephanie Garber, and I gotta say, guys, it was like fine. The book was fine. I would probably give it like 3 out of 5 stars. I didn't hate it, don't get me wrong. I don't regret reading it. I don't think I wasted my time reading it. I just don't think it was my favorite. Now that I've gotten into more like new adult fantasy books, YA fantasy books that are very obviously YA, don't read as well to me anymore, I think. And the book itself just didn't really pick up until like literally 50% of the way through. And like, I need something that's gonna grab me a little bit sooner than that. I think I was just like, the plot was a little too far-fetched, the descriptions of everything was a little too far-fetched, which was the whole point. The whole point was that you're at this really magical carnival that does impossible things and does like all these kooky like Alice in Wonderland, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory kind of things. But it just kind of like took me out of it a little bit because it was a little too far-fetched. I am gonna try to read the second book, mostly because I don't feel like, we had a resolution at the end of the book, but like, I don't think, it like left a lot of things open. Like, I don't know, I didn't love the way it ended. I didn't feel like it wrapped up that book very well. So now I mostly want to read the second one because I need to know like how she's gonna like wrap this up. It's a 3-book series, so I'm kind of like, if I really didn't love the first one, am I really gonna love the second one? Who knows though, because some people told me that about A Court of Thorns and Roses too, and the second book was way better than the first one. So we'll see. I'm gonna give her a shot. I'm waiting for it to come in from my local library for my Kindle. So I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. Probably won't read it again. In regards to what I'm reading currently, I'm currently reading The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. This is a book that I've heard a ton about, especially on Book Talk, and I've been trying to get my hands on it for a while. I actually own a copy of the book, but I do prefer to read on my Kindle, especially when I'm taking it to and fro from like work and outdoors and things. A book is just a little thick and kind of strenuous to carry around with me, especially because I try to only carry like a small bag when I can. My Kindle's a lot more portable. So I just started reading it a couple days ago, and I'm already in it, you guys. Like, this book has already like grabbed my attention, and I'm like, I'm in it, right? Which is not what Caraval did. But I want to say I'm like 30% of the way through right now, and I'm really liking it so far. I do have some, not theories, but kind of ideas of how this is gonna play out, just because it's been all over TikTok for years. So we'll see, we'll see. It definitely didn't start the way I was thinking it was going to, so I'm excited to be surprised. And as for what I'm watching right now, I'm actually binge watching season 20 of Project Runway. So there's not a lot of sewing content on YouTube like there is for like knitting. Like, there's knitting podcast, there's knit and chats, there's pattern roundups, there's a bunch of knitting content, there's a bunch of book content on YouTube, but I realize there's not a lot of sewing content, or at least from what I can find. So I'm getting that fixed by watching Project Runway. I just finished season 19 on Peacock, and now I'm watching season 20. I don't know when the newest season's gonna air, but right now it is satiating my need for sewing content, which is really nice. I am one of those people where once I get into a new hobby, that's all what I want to consume in regards to like content as well. Mostly because I feel like it exposes me to information about the hobby that I might not know, and it gives me that serotonin boost for when I'm not actively doing the hobby. So if you guys know any sewing YouTubers or content creators, please leave them in the comments for me, because I would love to check out their content. All right guys, that's it for me today. If you liked this video and you want to stick around for more, please like and subscribe and hit that bell icon to get notified for any future videos that I post. Thank you all for stopping at my little crafty corner of YouTube and sharing your time with me today. See you next time. Bye.